I've often called today's teens a generation of first. And the reason I do is because they are inaugurating very many new realities that we have never seen before. Nobody trained us how to treat a student with a portable device because we never had that situation before. So travel with me on this journey. Today's teens are the first generation that doesn't need us, adults, to get information. What's crazy is we used to be the grand brokers of all the information that they had. Well, now that's not true. Thank you, Google. They don't need us for information. What they do need us for is interpretation. Number two, today's teens are the first generation that can broadcast their every thought or emotion impulsively in real time. And it's not just the young people, it's us too, but this is a new day. Can we delay gratification? Can we avoid impulsivity? We're gonna have to train for that. Today's teens are the first generation that enjoys external stimuli at their fingertips 24/7. Now, I'm not suggesting this is the end of the world, but what I've often thought as a dad of two young adults myself, both young professionals now, if they've always got a portable device that's stimulating them from the outside, tweeting, whatever's coming in, will they ever develop internal motivation where they don't need something to get them going in the morning? Number four, today's teens are the first generation that's in social contact at all times, and yet often in isolation. Isn't this the paradox of our day? That we can be completely connected with people and yet very disconnected, and perhaps our emotional intelligence or our interpersonal skills are not being developed even though we're with people virtually. Today's teens are the first generation that will learn more from a portable device than a class. These portable devices are everywhere and they're not going away, but how do we continue to train them with some of the things that can't be learned on a screen when most of their time is on a screen? The average teenager spends the equivalent of a full-time job on a screen every day, and that's not schoolwork. Today's teens are the first generation that adults have actually enabled to be narcissistic. Now, the good news is narcissism tends to be a little bit down in Gen Z as opposed to the millennials, but it's still very, very high. This is a selfie-absorbed generation, and we created it, we adults. So how do we help them navigate adulthood or emerging adulthood where they see a world that's bigger than they are and maybe where they're not the center of it? And then lastly, today's teens are the first generation that endures the same level of anxiety as a psychiatric patient did in the 1950s. The American Psychological Association just released this reality, and it floors me when I think about it. So how do we navigate the stress that they feel, even if you feel like it's not warranted, the stress, the anxiety, even the depression that they have to navigate to become full-fledged, healthy adults? So with this generation of first, let's unpack just who they are.